You know, earlier today I made a video talking about the AMX-30B, and the title of it is The Better Leopard. And the majority of people are saying, no, Droodles, it's not. Leopard is better. The Leopard is better. Leopard is better. You know, the majority of people are saying Leo in a good hands is way better. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's a little interesting. You know, let's make our way over to Blitz Analysis and take a look at the Leopard 1 statistics to see just how good of a performer it is. Because I would expect the average viewer watching my content to be placed in the 55 to 65% range. So let's go over to the lowest performing vehicles in the game, and let's take a look at the 55 to 65% range. And okay, we got the 183, understandable, it's obviously an awful tank. Grill 15, pretty poor vehicle, huh? What's that? Maybe I need to clean my glasses a little bit. One sec. Maybe I'm not reading that right. I could have sworn that I saw something that started with an L. Oh, yeah, I did. It's crazy. It says the Leopard 1. You know what I don't see in the bottom 20 performing vehicles? The AMX-30B. It's all the way up here, about, I don't know, 15 positions higher than the Leopard 1. That's crazy. If we take a look at 65%ers, the only tank that 65%ers are going under 65% in, the Leopard 1. That's crazy, but you guys are telling me it's better. And before you try to claim, well, the reason the Leopard stats are worse is because of the fact that the average player using the Leopard is worse, well, that's just not the case, because as I showcased, it's 55 to 65% players, the exact same pool of players being used for the 30B, and yet the 30B is performing better. There's a very simple reason why the 30B is a better performer, and it's this little thing called armor. See, the Leopard's lower plate is 70 millimeters thick. The turret is 70 millimeters thick. The sides of the hulls are 40 millimeters thick. It does not matter how much you angle or how much you try, you are not going to get bounces on your Leopard 1. And when it comes to winning battles, if you need to get a bounce to conserve your hit points till late game, this is not going to be the vehicle for you. Where the AMX-30B, sure, most of you will be quick to point out it has a big ol' hatch. But fun fact, these little squares, which we can see my mouse covering, well, those don't actually count as armor. You can see me clicking them right now. This here counts as armor. These little squares are actually hollow, and if you shoot them, it will go directly through and not actually damage the tank. So the hatch is only this tall, actually. Not only is the hatch a lot smaller than people think, but you'll notice there's a lot more red. That's because the 30B actually has armor. Its upper plate is an auto ricochet to any AP and APCR ammunition, and even loading heat, it still has some very troll spots. Not only that, but the 30B's mantlet is pretty dang effective, sitting upwards of 260 to 70 millimeters thick, which is enough to get bounces again from standard shells when it comes to the majority of mediums. This is why the 30B is a better tank. Now, that's not to say you can't do good in the Leopard. Don't get me wrong, the Leopard has a better gun. But just because your tank has a better gun does not mean it's a better tank. This vehicle has more gun depression, better turret armor, which allows it to work better in a hull down spot. Nobody's gonna sit here and say the STB-1 is a worse tank than the Leopard just because the Leopard has a better gun. That would be foolish. And that's the same thing here. The 30B sacrifices a slight bit of DPM, with still very good accuracy and overall aiming time, in fact better aiming time than the Leopard, to have a much better turret and armor profile. The side of the 30B, while only 40, is covered in spaced armor, and because of that, it's much harder to penetrate, as we can see with HE. It's a very troll tank. So that's what I have to say. This isn't like to bash anybody, but I just don't know where people are getting the idea that the Leopard is a better tank when it's performing much worse. And by the way, I'm not the only one that thinks the 30B is one of the best mediums in the game right now. We can get another top performer on the NA server. Let's read Fatness's description and live stream chat on the 30B after it got buffed. The AMX-30B is easily one of the best, if not the best, medium in Tier 10. The only thing holding it back is the slightly higher skill level required to make this tank work. And if we read the little chat in the side here, he says, the tank still takes skill, but in my opinion, it is so perfect. And then somebody says Leopard 1 over 30B. You know what Fatness says? In terms of firepower, yes. However, the 30B is just better in other characteristics. And that is the same way I feel. Sure, the gun on the Leopard is amazing. And nobody's going to disagree with you there. However, the armor on the 30B allows it to be much more flexible, especially in late game situations. Just because you see a bigger number does not mean it is a better tank. And I don't think the Leopard's bad by any means, but I think it's foolish for people to simply jump the gun and say, oh, Leopard 1's better, when it's not. I mean, and if you do plan on bringing up these statistics in your rebuttal in the comments section, one thing you should mention is that the 30B actually has better aiming time than the Leopard 1. Why is this important? Well, let's say you're poking somebody and you want to try and minimize the time they have to aim in on your vehicle. Well, in the Leopard 1, it's going to take you longer to aim in on that person before you can back up. Not only does the 30B have better armor, allowing it to get more bounces consistently, but it also has a better aiming time, allowing you to snap that shell faster into your opponent and back into cover. Now, before I end off today's video, let me point out that I'm not bashing the Leopard 1. I think the Leopard is amazing, and if you watched one of my probably 20 videos I've posted on the vehicle over the years, you'd agree with me that it's a fantastic tank. If you play it properly, especially kind of like a mobile tank destroyer, you can do a very good job. But at the end of the day, the Leopard is not a tank that can brawl in the front line. Yes, there are occasions when it can use its superior DPM and firepower, but I can tell you for a fact that the moment a Leopard goes up against a decent STB player, all of your capabilities go flushed down the drain. Today I've pulled up statistics which highly proves the Leopard is a worse performing vehicle with the same 55% to 65% players. Not only that, but I've shown two of the top players in the game opinions, which also say the 30B is an absolutely fantastic tank, which has its merits over the Leopard 1. As I said, I'm not going to say you can't have your own opinion. Everybody can form what they want to have beliefs on. The Stridsvagn K is a Tier 10 Swedish collector heavy, and it features the most damage per minute in Tier 10 for a heavy with 3,325. Now, if we're following the same argument for what people have with the Leopard, and that is the fact that, the Leopard has the most DPM and the most accurate gun, well, this vehicle features combat stabilization, which allows the gun to be incredibly accurate. This vehicle features solid dispersion, great DPM, and overall a very good capability, even 9 degrees of gun depression. So why is the Stridsvagn K performing worse than vehicles like the Kron and the 60 TP with much worse guns on accuracy, much worse DPM, mobility, gun depression? Well, it's simple, because damage per minute does not characterize everything about a vehicle. And having an overall balanced perspective is why tanks do better in certain areas. The Leopard trades everything for the damage per minute. And while the 30B does have great damage per minute and accuracy, it doesn't trade everything and actually has some armor, which allows it to be more flexible. So that's my viewpoint of the argument. As I said, everybody is free to have their own opinions, and you guys can base whatever you want yours off of. But I have stats to showcase what I'm saying is not wrong. And I always find it foolish when people are just like, well, you're wrong, because I disagree. Like, you have to have a solid backing to why somebody is wrong in that regard. And I'm all up for debate. I love, debates. I'm not mad. I always find it fun. So if somebody wants to type in the comments a full statistical backed, this is why the Leopard's better, then go ahead. And if it's right, then I will bend over and accept defeat. But as of right now, the odds are very against you. Please consider smashing that subscribe button for more updated content. I just want to point out that this is just a meme of a video. I mean, it's opinions, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.